Right, what's the Black Dragon Society and is it connected to the ninja? Right, today I'm going to go through the political group called the Black Dragon Society and briefly talk about if we know there's any connection to the ninja. But first of all, if you're interested in my work, get yourself a copy of How to Be a Modern Samurai. It's out on Audible and it's also on normal book and Kindle, of course. So if you're interested in samurai ways. But I'm also going to have to apologise for this machine here. He's snoring away and it's my dog Bolt. And he's going to snore all the way through this, I think. So here we go. Now, I'm not talking about the modern Black Dragon Society. I'm talking about the early 1900s political group. And what happened was I got an email from a guy and basically he said, Anthony, what do you know about Black Dragon and Ninja? I said, I don't know anything about Black Dragon. So he's put together for me a PDF, if you like, PowerPoint, and you can get that PowerPoint by going on my website and clicking the downloads and looking for the Black Dragon Society, and you can follow that here. But what I'm going to do is go through the slides now and see what we know about the Black Dragon Society. We're in the year 1868, okay, ending this samurai power. Yep, we start to have peasants replacing the samurai of Japan. The samurai society is falling, and basically we start to get a real problem between the people who want to keep with samurai ways and the people who don't. Now we start to get groups of political people called the Gen Yosha, and they want to basically keep with samurai ways. They want to sort of go against the modernization and stick with their ancestral ways. So they start to break away from normal society. We start to see the rise of even more societies like the Gen Yosha, which means the Dark Ocean Society, which is apparently the ocean between Korea and Japan. Now these guys also want to stay away from new ways. The man who sent me this information is called Sami Ibrahim. Now he says he wonders whether there's a connection between ninjutsu and the Black Dragon Society, this political order, because he says lots of them started to do spy work, assassination work, and of course we talk about ninjas not being assassins, but of course it is part of it, it's a very small part of it. But the point being is they were going through elections, political turmoil, and if you want to you can pause the page here and read this, and it talks about bombings of carriages, knifing attacks and sort of suicides, and there's lots of spies and training and everything going into trying to overthrow the modern government. Now, what we do know is that the world in Japan was changing here very fast and they were using a lot of modern things. So we don't quite know what these people were studying, but the question is, were they studying the ancient ways of the ninja or the modern ways of the West? Might sound strange to say that, you know, these people who wanted to stay in tradition might have been studying modern ways, but it's actually quite true. There is a lot of what the samurai soon realised in the northern provinces when they were fighting against modern armies is that the old swords and spears were no good for guns. So they, you know, like real modern guns. So they very quickly adopted those guns to oppress for keeping samurai ways, but with modern weapons. What Sami is asking is he's saying, when these guys trained, what were they training in? Because they said they wanted rid of liberal organisations and they actually trained assassin spies in martial arts and infiltrated a Korean imperial palace and murdered the Queen Empress, whatever that is called. And of course all this information comes from Sami, but it's his research, but we'll get into that at the end of the video. But the question is what were these guys actually training? Training ninjutsu or modern infiltration tactics, which of course cross over, but where were they getting their information? Now this brings us to the Black Dragon Society, or the Kokuryukai. So Black Dragon Society, and it was ultra-nationalist, and it was created in 1901 by Ryohei Uchida, and he was an apprentice protege of Mitsuru Toyama. Now, he did judo and things like that, and apparently was training in martial arts, but also running a political ideal. Now, this is not a new thing. Ronin, since the 1600s, have been actually pushing for political change. The Kemu Restoration was one of them with Yui Shosetsu. In fact, martial arts dojos have been a hub of political intrigue for over 300 or 400 years by this point. So this isn't out of the norm for Japanese society. Now, the name apparently comes from this river that crosses through China and borders Russia. And the idea is they wanted to dominate this area, keep China, annex Korea, which they did, of course, and they did annex China and move over to Asia mainland not a few decades after this. So the actual idea did become true, and they had one of the greatest empires in the world at this point, because it was only for a short time, but they took over the very heavily populated China, and you get the Nanking massacre in the 1930s and 40s. So we've got both the Dark Ocean Society and also the River Across China and Russia Society, basically. So the Black Dragon Society, or the river of that, and the Dark River Society and the Dark Ocean Society. And they sort of blend into one another, and they move into the next stuff. And of course, we do know that within a very short time, Japan is at war with Russia, and they beat Russia. And not only that, they like hammer Russia, and the rest of the world suddenly open their eyes to these very sort of right-wing, traditional, conservative Japanese warriors who are really pushing for a nationalistic country. Alongside, of course, the First World War is about to happen. Germany is about to go through a depression and rise of Hitler and everything. We're looking like we're going through a big national stage here. What Sami is saying here under this Captain Kennedy is that he thinks or it is said from his research, that the Black Dragon Society became very powerful, and it became like a shadow society within the government. And the idea is that they became respected, they became powerful, and they had a lot of power behind the scenes in Japan. Now, of course, this is Sami's research, and I hope it's correct. If you know anything more about this, how powerful they became and how far they reached into the government, please do let us know. If you have any idea on where they got their spying information from, please do let us know. But for the minute, let's carry on. Don't forget, you can get this full PDF at my website. Now, so much so that it is said that they got a lot of money coming in, so they became very, very rich. And 1920s and 30s, it became very mainstream. Like I say, in the 1930s, Germany was going through its depression, and they started to rise in their fascism. And Japan was very, very nationalistic at this point. It became extremely focused on teaching its children what they thought was best, changing the history of Japan, cleaning the history of Japan, and becoming an almost totalitarian society here. Now, Sami's research has led him to see that actually between the 1930s and 40s, that the Black Dragon Society set up contacts within the Muslim world, and they had contacts all over Asia and the Middle East, and that there was intelligence officers and agents that they were talking to, the Navy of the United States, and all of that type of high-profile military intelligence was going on in the background. But the question is, did it rely on ninjutsu, or was this a move to the modern world? What do you think? Now, we know that Japanese operatives were working near Hawaii for the Pearl Harbor attack, and also that the Yakuza had close ties, or so it's said, with the Black Dragon Society. Now, the Black Dragon Society was trying also to influence the African American people in America to try and disrupt society as well. Obviously, this is within the war years and the conflict years. And we know that there was photographs taken and information gathered on Pearl Harbor. But how far this now spread, I'm not sure. It turns out that now they're really spreading into gangsters, spies, espionage. It seems to be getting bigger and bigger. Of course, this ends with World War II. So Sami is also saying that for example, the founder of Daito Ryu and also the founder of Aikido had relationships, if not were in the Black Dragon Society, or at least relationships with it, and that there are some reports of them being taught shinobi-like espionage within the groups. Now, of course, we don't know this. We've no documentation for this, but they were dealing with espionage. But this is his conclusion. Remember, Remember, you can download this full thing from my website, which is www.natori.co.uk. Just go to the main page and then click downloads, and it should all be there. Just click Japanese traditions and you'll see it as the Black Dragon Society. And I'm now going to talk to you about my thoughts on this and about Sami's research, and we'll ask your opinion to see what you guys think. So the research for this video was done by Sami Ibrahim. I hope I'm saying that right. Now so basically, if there's victory to be had and it's amazing research, it's all on him. He gets the accolades. But also if there's stuff that's wrong in there, it's his research. I know nothing about the Black Dragon Society. It's at the wrong end of the spectrum for me. I tried to push back into the Sengoku period, and this is late on. So what stands out to me is that Japan was, by the points of the 1920s and 1930s, they were way past the sort of like getting the samurai back, and they were totally into the mobilization of modern ways. And we know that the Nakano school existed for the official government, and that the official government had the Nakano school, and we know that Fujiseko taught there, and we know he said they did like a lecture on ninjutsu, but it was just like a history, because most of the stuff they're doing was derailing trains, bombs, telephones, it was non-ninja stuff, it was modern stuff. Of course, spycraft will cross over anyway. So the question comes, is there a connection between the shinobi and the Black Dragon Society, or, in those types of societies around the turn of the 20th century? At the end of the 19th century, turn of the 20th century, 1899, 1900, 1901, what shinobi stuff was going in? Now, it's very reasonable to think shinobi stuff was still active back then, because yes, ninja finished, yes, samurai finished, but the people didn't all die. They still had their traditions. But we do know, one, that the traditions were almost dying out. We know that even the ninja themselves are saying it's like hardly anything left. And two, the world was modernizing very fast. So how much of their ninja traditions did they take with them, and how much of the modern stuff did they come? So your thoughts and theories are there. Also, now, a question on the modern Black Dragon Society with Shida Kim, and I think, not Count Dante and people like that. Does that claim to be the same Black Dragon Society, or is it claimed to be is it the name has been taken, they've recreated another organization? I don't actually know, because every time people have said to me Black Dragon Society, I only think of Count Dante's Black Dragon Society, and I didn't really know about this. I knew there was political movements in this period, but I didn't know it was officially called the Black Dragon Society. So what do you think? Has Sami done his research right? Does anybody know this period of history? Let me know below. And if you're interested to go further into Japanese ideas, could you get yourself a copy of the Book of Bushido? I'll put a little advert here, and I'll put a link at the top. Get yourself a copy. But thank you so much to Sami for his research, and let's hope this kicks off something to do with ninja. So far, I have no documents, no evidence, no anything that's connected Black Dragon and Ninja Society. But let's keep looking. Maybe we'll find one in the end.